Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye has friends. No, really, Jeff has friends. Jeff's friends are on this podcast. Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye's friendship.
Friendship.
And welcome back to the Jeff Dye's Friendship Podcast, episode 97. Yes, I'm wearing makeup. If you're a Patreon subscriber or you're watching this months down the road, I'm wearing makeup. I shot a TV thing, so if it looks like a guy who shot TV at like 10 a.m. and then just kind of rubbed his makeup around his face because his eyes were itchy, and it's like he has makeup on, but it's not well done, that's why. My podcast guest this week, as always, we got Tony, the Bull, in the podcast, in the Force of Solid Dudes. But our guest this week is podcast regular, podcast favorite, friend of us in real life and friend of the podcast, Jeff Zenisek. He is a very tall tennis-playing comedian who has worked with me in Sarasota this weekend. We had a lot of good times, had a lot of fun, made a lot of people laugh. Thank you to all those people that came to those shows. A lot of Patreon subscribers came to that. Even a three-legged service dog came to those shows, which was cool. Cheryl Dennison was there. Good. Thanks for coming. Jennifer Marsh was there. Thanks for coming. Shout out to those Patreons. If you'd like to be a Patreon subscriber, it is $10 a month, and you get free tickets to every single comedy club you come to of mine, every comedy show you come to of mine. Also, you get to watch this podcast every Wednesday sharp. And then also, you get little goodies. You can contact me directly. As that grows, the better the stuff will be. Other content, you'll be able to live stream with me. Already, I reply to your messages, so hit me up there. If you don't subscribe to the Patreon, that's okay. You can go over to iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts and hit subscribe. We would love that. That's free. Doesn't hurt nobody to share it and tell people you're listening to a cool thing. This episode, we dive deep into the world of baseball. This is a real baseball-heavy episode, but if you listen to this, maybe you like baseball or you'd like to learn more about baseball. We're going to give you the ins and outs of all this cheating stuff. Jeff Z pitches his horrible ideas about how that works and what he believes would be the answer. But you guys are going to love it. Me and Tony, we disagree respectfully. But you guys are going to love Jeff Z. You're going to love this episode. Thanks for tuning in and enjoy. Yeah. Man, those claps are good. We still haven't made a montage of those claps yet.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know. I can't now.
What do you mean?
Because, they're not in the episode, then, I don't have, all
jeez.
Back footage
all
of
the
everybody.
Lost stuff. Of all the great lost stuff.
Hey, dude, if you want
the Are We Rolling
Yeah, well, he's about to do it, and it's my fault.
No,
and
it's not your fault. It's not your fault. But if you'd like that, because my hard drive isn't big enough to, keep all the back videos.
Right.
If you wanted to, give me, a 500 terabyte hard drive, I'd be more than happy.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Yeah, exactly. So
500 terabyte. I don't know if that exists.
I give and give. I give and give. These are shaking a lot, so I don't know why. Do you see it?
Yeah.
What?
Is it shaking more because it's so high?
Maybe.
Could be.
It was moving a ton a second ago.
Yeah, just don't touch the table. GoPro's pretty good at the stabilization.
It's an action cam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so wouldn't pick
up
Because
I noticed some people will bump the table and it moves a lot, and I when I'm in post, I never even see it.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who was it doing it the most?
Well, JC, we used to do it the most when we had the old setup.
Oh, yeah.
Just with the little camera there, because he didn't know it was a camera. He kept fucking with the tripod.
That's so funny.
And you're like, hey, dude, that's a camera, by the way.
Yeah, you just kept touching it.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe it's Frank Caliendo. Someone kept bumping the table a bunch.
Yeah.
I can't remember who it was.
Tim Dillon, maybe?
He seems like a fidgety dude.
He was up on the table.
It's all this podcast isn't very built for like heavy guys.
No,
And I've got so many heavy friends.
you got one every week.
Yeah, I know, but then plus another one, and then it's like I'm also squeezing them in between that freaking game machine and then the table. It's like it's kind of a lot to ask, you know.
Yeah, we should move that arcade.
I don't know where else to put it in my home.
Put it over there.
It won't work good there.
Why?
Not for my OCD.
Okay.
Sorry.
Put it back in the bathroom. Just
Plus
leave it.
that steel thing's like bolted to the wall,
Yeah.
like bolted because it's like 400 pounds.
Put it in the bathroom.
No,
Just sit there on the
there's an
toilet.
arcade in the bathroom.
That'd
Be the
pretty
first.
Cool.
It could be.
Be the first.
First bathroom arcade.
I know. I think it's anytime we touch the mics or anything is when it fucks with it too.
Yeah.
I think we'll have to go back to the old setup after this episode.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening. Jeff Z, welcome back to the podcast, buddy.
What's up?
We had some fun times in Florida, man.
Hell yeah.
I was happy to have Jeff Z back on the podcast for you guys listening because we did Sarasota, Florida together
That's right.
at Les McCurdy's Comedy Club called McCurdy's. And what a fun play. It was an exciting week because XFL just started.
Yeah.
We got to perform for what must have been, 50-year-olds to 150-year-olds.
Yeah.
But
young people were 55.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
still great.
Yeah.
How often can you say I performed for all old people and I loved it?
Not very often.
Right.
Yeah.
And because we've done Visani's Comedy Theater. We've done, we've done it separately.
Vasani's is
The oldest. And then we've
Yeah.
also done, we've done Off the Hook Comedy Club, which
Yeah.
sounds real hip. Off the Hook, homie G. It isn't. They
Yeah.
just like are going for some weird play of like fish that is off the hook and it's in a restaurant. It's not even a comedy club.
Yeah.
They just put a stage in the middle of a restaurant.
That's hip, dude.
And the comedy starts while the sun's up.
Yeah.
And the people look like they're there for the food and they had no idea there was going to be comedy.
Yeah, it was like a dinner place, and they're like, "Oh, there's comedy here."
Yeah. And there's
Yeah.
like a wall, like behind you is like graffiti. Like it's like off the hook, like graffiti. It's like,
Yeah.
and like,
Sounds badass.
Yeah,
Dude.
some of the decor, the name, and the clientele, none of them make sense.
oh, it's been
Yeah.
very weird. But these were the best crowds, and they were still old people, but they were like fantastic.
Yeah, they were saying that Sarasota is like an artsy district.
Oh, really?
You know, yeah, they were like, people love the arts here. I mean, we went to that like art gallery.
Yeah,
Remember
yeah.
that? The
Oh,
guy
yeah.
guy was selling like
A giant steel rooster for like 40 grand.
yeah, and it weighs like 7,000 pounds.
Yeah. How would he even get that to your house?
Yeah, we saw him packing up on the way out, and he had like a fucking like military grade truck
Yeah.
to like move his
When
shit.
all his shirt was off, he's wearing like a wife beater.
Yeah.
Also, nobody's gonna be able to afford to buy any of that stuff.
Yeah. Oh, $17,000.
Yeah, I got that.
There you go.
Hey, how much does it cost to get this 1,800-pound steel moose to my house?
Yeah.
Another $1,000.
You
Like
guys are
10 grand?
underestimating all the old retired people in
Yeah.
Florida, maybe.
I
Let
don't
me
think he
just
moved
call my
any.
buddy who has an industrial crane.
Yeah.
There you
Yeah,
go.
to
People
move
were
this
being
in my
cheap
yard.
about like the glass work that people were selling, let alone this giant moose for yards. Nobody looked like they're buying anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My least favorite thing was there were photographers there that had like, you know,
This is
like
an interesting take. Yeah.
so,
Listen to
so
this.
you have like these paintings, right? On
They're
the wall. They were
huge.
like, you know, like this is a picture, but that's actually not a picture. That's a jersey.
Yeah.
I'm pointing
But
at a jersey. But
something
so
that size.
Yeah, you get something that size. It's just like a picture. So the guy went there and he's like, boop, and he took a picture, right? So it's like, it was, what was it, like $5,000?
Yeah, more than that.
The picture's great. He's a great photographer. But it's like, I'm just,
Just put it on your Instagram.
well,
Let me look at it, right?
That's one thing. But also it's like, I just paid for your trip to go there.
Right.
You know, it's like, I could just go there and see it myself.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need your dumb picture.
Well,
I'll
and
just
also
pay for a flight.
Like with a painting, right? We were talking about this. Is like with a painting, like an original painting, they put a lot of work into that. And not that photography is not a lot of work. It's just that the painting part, you only really get a lot of money for the original. And then there's prints where you make money, but not the same as that one original. Whereas like with this photograph, he can print it a billion different sizes and ways and
Yeah.
charge what you would charge for like, this is custom for, it's like you could print
Yeah.
that a million times.
Yeah, a photographer used to have to like make the photo with like in a room that's like no light, and you have to dip your shit in a.
But even that, he
vat
could
of
he could remake
camera
it from that
juice or
film
something. Yeah,
hundreds and hundreds of times.
Yeah.
Whereas a painting,
but he still had to do something.
Yeah.
He's just like, boop,
this one's
here.
easy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Look how good I am.
Let me send it to you. through the cloud.
I'll
Not
email
even-
it to you for 10 grand.
You don't even get a USB stick that you can reuse, you know?
Yeah, but that being said, the photography was beautiful.
The photography was great. And I will say you do need an eye for photography, but it's
Not nowadays. If you
It's
can just
not
find a
hard.
way to frame the top of your head with your cleavage, you kind of nailed it. you know?
yeah. Your body is a perfect.
Yeah.
You know,
Why didn't
Yeah.
he sell any of those?
well, because he was a dude. That was one. He
No, but he
had
could have
no
sold like he
cleavage.
just like prints off a bunch of Instagram models' pictures and be like,
Yeah.
"You want this one?" You're like, "Who's she?" You got to buy it.
That's one of those things too that is funny to me. Like if I'm in an art gallery, I was thinking about this while we were walking around. All the most beautiful art, I'm like looking at it. If a hot chick walks by, I'm still looking at that. You know?
That's the true piece of
whatever
art.
is like, oh, this is great. A girl walks by, oh, who cares? Who cares about your dumb picture, dude?
You think different than most people, I would say.
Yeah,
Like in the
probably.
way that you think. Last time we had you on, you were defending the sign stealing of the Astros and saying, "Listen, just do it. Everyone, then you should all do it. They're smarter than you."
Okay, let me go on record and say I was not defending cheating. I'm just saying we should broaden
Make
the
it
scope.
not cheating so that they
No.
can.
No,
Yeah,
it's
that's
not. No. So, okay. So, yes, they are cheating. But what I'm saying is for the opposing team to combat the cheating, they have to do what would be considered cheating. But if you make all of it not cheating,
Right.
you're just defending yourself.
It'd be like a rapper being like, I wouldn't get in so much trouble with these guns if they just made all these machine guns legal. You're
Yeah.
like, yeah, of course.
yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Make machine guns legal. That's what I'm saying.
That's his
No, but
platform.
it's like, I'm just saying,
For
like,
baseball.
yeah.
Like, if you're a baseball team, you get machine guns. You know?
I'd watch that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm watching it anyways. But I guess I'm suggesting is like, they're just trying to eliminate it all. And since you've been on, it's been some weeks, and dude, it's gotten bad.
Yeah. It's
It's gotten real
Yeah, what's
bad.
been going on? It's one of those things I've just kind of checked out. Like I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, they cheated. Okay,
There's like
who
4 to
cares?
6 new things because pitchers and catchers reported to spring, right? So now they're like they're expected to make some statements. So they think, oh, there's going to be a big apology tour and it'll be over. Well, Alex Bregman and Jose Altuve both came out and apologized. The two like kind of faces of the team last few years of like real beloved stars. They were going to go on record and say apologize. The problem was their apology sucked. The apology was short and the apology was so they didn't admit what they did wrong.
Sorry, we beat all you pussies.
That'd have been great.
That would've been
But
tight.
instead, it was like kind of like this, like, hey, Jose Altuve, I'm sorry, we've got to move on. We're looking forward to moving on.
yeah,
It's like, yeah, of course we're looking
that's-
forward to moving on.
Yeah.
You didn't even tell us they wouldn't even give details or say what they're apologizing for.
Yeah.
They're leaving out all the things. They didn't use any of the words cheating. They didn't talk
That's
about any of the
awesome.
thing. So that was bad.
Yeah,
Then literally like a few minutes later, all the apologies in the clubhouse, because the press was allowed to come down and get apologies. Those were like public ones. Those everyone said on record were like a little bit more sincere and a little bit better, like well said. They weren't as scripted and as brief. But those, because you're letting them talk, were the worst. Justin Verlander's like, yeah, I knew ahead and I regret that I didn't say more. And then they go, okay, well, what did you know? And he goes, I don't want to get into details. Okay, well, what are you apologizing for? Listen, again, I'd like to not get into any details. You're like, well, then what good is this apology?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Carrera just completely goes, I'm sorry, we screwed up, blah, blah, blah. But then they asked him what, and he goes, oh, I know they didn't wear any buzzers. I know they weren't wearing any buzzers. And also, we didn't cheat. It's like, then what exactly do you believe that they were apologizing for if you're going to sit down here and say that they didn't
yeah.
cheat?
He's like, they're just mad we won.
That's exactly, they acted like whoever's
They
in
acted
charge
real
of the
smug
damage
about it.
That's what
control.
they have to do, though.
They were real smug
you
about it.
can't do
But
anything else.
Just don't apologize.
And here's
That's-
here's
well,
the
yeah.
thing though, baseball's such a fraternity, and you're rubbing these other teams and players the wrong way. Here's a quote. My favorite quote that's come out of this from another player, because this is my favorite thing about it, is other teams' players are now also commenting.
Okay.
Like Mike Trout saying,
Okay,
they cheated, they shouldn't have their thing.
I got to think about Mike Trout.
Well, let's
Hold on,
see.
hold
But
on.
let's see see what he said.
Here, this kind of wraps up, I feel like, what most of these players are thinking. This is from Atlanta Braves player Nick Markakis.
Okay.
He says, and I quote, I feel like every single guy over there needs a beating. It's
Right.
wrong. They're messing with people's careers.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a joke.
Well, I also don't think. I think there's going to be a lot of pitches to bodies this year. On
And
those
this is
Astros.
what's crazy is the
Nick Markakis isn't a pitcher, but I
That'd be
mean, like I'm
funny.
saying, there's
It's
going to
like
be a lot of beanballs.
Like
This
the
is
bottom
what's
of the
crazy,
first
too,
inning,
is
like
Darvish
8
should get to
pitches.
just hit the
I
whole
guarantee
fucking.
you-
pitches.
the MLB will punish pitchers for hitting the players more than the Astro players are getting punished for the whole cheating scandal.
Of course.
Which is real fucking shitty.
Well, one's violence, and the other one is like something that.
Yeah, it's like white collar crime
it's
versus
because
Also,
like
umpires
MLB
don't have the power to police what these
but it's
guys
also
did.
because the MLB's not doing. They didn't do anything. There was not even a slap on the wrist for the players. They got complete immunity. So
I
now
know, that's what I don't like.
So now the pitcher's like,
What-
I guess
what
we
are
got to
the
fucking
players
take it in our own
supposed to
hands.
do though? They're just kind
Here's
of
the
like
thing.
pawns in the thing.
No, I'm
They're
not saying the
not
players.
pawns.
No, I'm saying the MLB needed to punish these players.
yeah,
What? How does the it
the
happened
players
through
are
the
the ones
organization?
who did it.
I know, but I'm saying
How
like
could they not? They're the most guilty.
no,
Yeah.
but they are guilty. Yes,
The most guilty.
Yeah.
But they did the thing.
The general
So it's
manager
like,
has no home runs. He has no hits.
Yeah, but
he
he's-
has no doubles. He has no RBIs.
But he's
and then
the
we're gonna go. The
boss.
guys who got all that. Hey, like,
he's the boss.
They're immune.
So he should get punished too, which he did.
all of them got punished except the players.
except the players.
They're
which
even
makes
getting
no
rings. I
sense.
found out because initially they're definitely not going to give them rings.
Yeah.
They
And they're
won.
getting rings,
They won though.
but they cheated to win.
And Darvish said Olympians get caught cheating, they take their medals.
yeah, Heisman Trophy winners
Yeah,
lose
but
their
no one
Heismans.
cares
Why do you
about
not-
the Olympics. you
I know I don't.
No
That's how
one
you-
gives
it's
a
a quote.
shit. Oh, cool! You skied down a hill and shot a gun. Who gives
Yeah.
a shit?
Against the only other 8 people who do that sport.
Wow, you got third place of
It's like
three
when Ronda
people that
Rousey
play
was in the
this?
UFC, like she's the baddest woman on the planet, or of the 10 that are doing this.
Yeah.
No, but and then there's more. This is how
Yeah.
much bad. AJ Hinch was like in this big interview. He said that I'm trying to remember his exact quote. Oh, they said, well, were there any buzzers? Like, were they wearing buzzers to
What's
like
the
say?
buzzer thing?
So they think that like certain players were wearing buzzers, so
Like
that
the
like when a
ones that you
fastball would
get-
come in, it would vibrate, and they would know fastball swing away.
So like the one like
2
the
buzzes, curveball, 3,
Yeah.
whatever. So,
So they wear like a buzzer that you get at like Outback Steakhouse when you're waiting for
Yeah,
a
something like
table.
that.
something like taped to yourself,
Yeah,
so that
like-
so instead of having to listen for a loud trash can or something,
Especially in the
you
playoffs,
just listen for
when
a
your
buzz.
team's your fans are going crazy.
Yeah.
It's sold out. It's hard to
So
hear.
you hear like
Yeah.
a little buzz on your thing. And the reason that happened is because he was accused of it somewhat. And then there was a time where they tried to rip off his jersey. And he's telling him when he's coming home on a walk-off, like, don't touch my jersey, don't touch my jersey.
which is great. And a lot of
Wow.
players are saying that too. Like, if I hit a home run
Maybe
to
he's
send my team to the World Series
Yeah.
off Chapman,
maybe
the last thing I'm thinking about is running back into the tunnel to change my
Look,
shirt.
guys, body shaming is real, okay?
Yeah, yeah.
And he just
He's
didn't
a
want to
little
be body,
cheater, man.
He
And that's
just
another
didn't want to
thing.
be body
They
shamed
said
when he crossed
there's
the plate.
been 9 different reasons on why he didn't want a shirt off. First, it was his wife got
Then he has a
mad.
bad
Then-
tattoo.
Then he's modest. He was
Yeah.
too modest. Now Correa says he's got a bad tattoo.
So
Imagine
soon.
cheating at
So
baseball
funny.
so hard that you have to get a shitty tattoo to prove that you weren't cheating.
Yeah, up to then goes to Correa like, dude, why'd you fucking
Give me a butterfly.
Now I gotta get a tattoo. Why'd you fucking
That's
say that?
hilarious.
That'd be
Well, the
funny.
one thing is, so that's they asked him about the buzzers, and instead of him just admittingly going, "I've never heard of anything like that," and we didn't do that to my knowledge, that we definitely didn't do that, which would be a denial.
Yeah.
He just goes, "We were investigated, and they didn't find anything," and you're like, "That's not a no."
Yeah, that just
That's
means
wait,
maybe
what?
you got away with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then it was so bad of an answer that the next day they had to be like, "Hey man, you said," and then he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry." He like apologized. And then another guy who I think was the president or something said that cheating never affected the game. That they might have cheated, but it didn't affect the game. What?
Yeah.
And they're like, and the guy that was asking the
Yeah.
question goes, just to be clear, did you just say it doesn't affect the game? And he goes, oh, I didn't say that. It's like, you
Well-
said it a second ago. Verbatim.
It's still baseball, technically.
Yeah.
You know, we were playing baseball.
I still just feel so bad for you, Darvish, man.
Yeah, he got caught. He got caught.
And imagine just like going home and they're like, dude, you're tipping your pitches. And he's like, I'm not tipping my pitch. Like his mind must be, he must be furious. He's
Tony,
like,
that's an interesting argument.
But-
Not argument, but that's an interesting point for anyone who would argue that sign stealing doesn't matter. Because I think people that don't know sign stealing matters are either
does matter.
A, very naive, or B, just don't know how big of an advantage it truly is.
yeah, Vlad Guerrero said he'd bat 500 if he knew every pitch was coming.
Yes.
Oh, I think a lot of batters would bat 500 if they knew every bat. And so here's the thing: tipping pitches is when like a player, since pitchers are very, we all know this, but for people listening, baseball players are so traditional and they try to do everything like
Mechanically
muscle,
the same, yeah.
mechanically the same way, but also traditionally the same way, and then also muscle memory the same way.
Yeah.
And so they often do like little things like, they'll take their hat off twice and put it down before a pitch, but they might grab the bill right before they throw a fastball, or they might like drop their elbow down before they do a changeup or something. And so they'll get rocked, and then someone will say, hey, you know why? It's because every time you lower your arm, we know you're throwing a changeup. Now, they wouldn't say we, but like they'd know you're throwing a changeup. And so people go, shit. And it will ruin a pitcher's career when he's tipping his pitches. Every batter is having an advantage on at least 3 or 4 different types of pitches.
And that's the pitcher's fault, right?
Yeah.
You got to go through film and you got to watch it. Darvish, was like, I'm not tipping my pitches.
Yeah.
Everything was the exact same.
And it was like a free agency year where he could have made tons of money on the market.
Millions more.
Yeah, I would be furious about that.
Yeah, that sucks.
I feel like there was other ones, but like that's how bad it's gotten.
Yeah.
It's that the Houston Astros damage control must be ran by like a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
Who's like, hey, maybe we get our 2 most sweet, charming, smallest players to go out and apologize. Just don't say.
But honestly, at the same time, I wouldn't say shit either because nothing happened to me.
Here's what
You're
I would
just going
say.
to get busted, though.
It's like what I just said earlier to Jeff, though. Then just don't say anything.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to limp out there and do
It's like they're being smug about it.
Yeah, it was weird.
Fucking assholes.
I would ignore it and just say, hey, we're excited about spring. Do what their Instagram's doing. Their Instagram is just showing like Alex Bregman hitting home runs at batting practice and like pitchers and catchers are here. Like they're just completely acting like it's not a thing.
Baseball's awesome.
Yeah. Which is great. And you go, oh, look whose birthday it is.
Dude, there's going to be a lot of brawls for the
I can't
Astros
wait
this year.
Well, I also kind of like that Altuve went from being like baseball's biggest sweetheart to looking like just a little
fucking
pudgy
NWO
child.
heel turn, dude.
Not even heel, like a little weaselly, like
What are my favorite
chinless.
tweets?
What's that one wrestler, the little guy that nobody likes with no chin? He was like wrestled women sometimes.
Oh, James Ellsworth.
He looks like the James Ellsworth of the like.
I saw a funny tweet. The guy was like, man, I knew this guy was cheating. He's the size of my grandma hitting 450-foot bombs to left center. I knew he was cheating.
Yeah. But the thing with Mike Trout, like Mike Trout was like openly like shitting on them and calling them cheaters and stuff, right?
Yeah. Telling the truth? Yeah.
Okay, that's true. But doesn't he have like a doctor's note to like do steroids illegally?
There's reports of that.
Someone said that.
He gets
it was
HG.
Scott Brocious' son
Okay.
said it, but the MLB has since refuted that.
Sure.
He
The
said
same people that didn't report initially. That was the other thing. Code breaker. They're so bad at cheating and so bad with damage control that they found a file and labeled it code breaker.
Yeah.
Like how bad are you
Because
at hiding?
they went so far that they were doing it with like robots. Like they were like,
using a computer algorithm to like figure out which pitches are probably coming.
Yep.
Then signaling which ones are coming.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, it's just like the advantage is ridiculous. And like, I'm a little more harsh than everyone else. I don't want them to get a beating like Mark Kakis said. And I don't want them to get, I don't want them to, be criminally charged like someone's trying to sue one of the players.
Yeah, no.
But here's what I want. I want them to be 5 years suspended. I want to say no pay. You don't get to play baseball for every hitter.
Wow.
Every single hitter. Pitchers couldn't have done it.
Yeah.
And they're in the American League, so I let them off the hook. But like Justin Verlander, all he's guilty of is like not ratting out his teammates, which is whatever.
It's fine.
But guess what? I say every one of those hitters, you're going to take 5 years off, and you're banned from baseball for 5 years. It's a temporary ban. Your numbers will stand. You won the World Series, but you get no rings, and you get a 5-year ban. It's very harsh.
Yeah.
But I think like in the olden days of baseball, which is a very traditional game, they got rid of a whole baseball team.
Yeah.
The Chicago Black Sox. They got rid of a whole organization.
Mm-hmm.
And then also Pete Rose is being punished for life for something that's less important, less harsh than that. So it's like, why not tell these guys, oh, if you cheat, there's a consequence.
Yeah.
And then next time when a guy wants to steal signs, or if he wants to like use a coworker to send him signals of what the signs are, or if somebody wants to pump steroids in their ass cheek, they go, man, if I get caught.
Yeah.
I mean, make a what's that called? Like make a lesson of it.
It's so crazy that like there's 0 suspensions. Even if it's like the 80 games, like if you do substance, even that is at least something, because that's your whole team is gone for half the year. You're fucked, right? Your season's a wash, which is great. Nothing. There's nothing.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't like it. And I'm actually a little annoyed that everyone seems to care except the people who should.
Yeah.
Right? Like, ask any baseball fan. Like, this is outrageous. Ask
Yeah.
anyone on Twitter. We're not all freaking out, like, because one of those guys said the N-word. Like, it's like, this is much more important to the game. It just says, why not cheat?
Yeah.
Why not
It's
cheat
the
if there's
only
no
thing.
punishment?
It's the only thing bringing Yankees and Red Sox fans
Right.
together.
Well, Jeff Z
Dodgers and
just said you can't blame the players.
They're in an organization where the top is like, we're cheating. And then if you're like on the team, like just
It was
trying to
player
like,
driven though. It was
it
player
was
driven.
player driven.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Well,
the exact word in the
how,
report.
how do they know that?
They did the investigation.
Yeah.
Who?
I think Alex Cora
And Beltran.
and Carlos Beltran, like, just completely were like, all right, here's a thing we could try.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, what? Like, they're probably
I
salivating.
mean, yes, the organization, like, oh, okay, this is a good idea. And then they put the cameras up, they put the monitor. So, yeah, the organization's involved. That's why they got in trouble, too. But it was a player-driven program.
Well, and also, let's
Okay.
do this. This is a broader conversation for maybe our audience who listens to comedy or whatever. I'm sympathetic to the temptation of cheating. That doesn't mean I justify it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if I knew there was a pill I could take that made me 20 times funnier than I already am, and so now my shows start drawing numbers, and I
Comedy
start
roids,
getting,
dude.
yeah, I start getting
Fuck yeah.
I get Netflix offers, and I start getting all these things, and they're like, wait, he's doing so good recently that I'm almost suspicious he's taking like a performance enhancing drug, and that's against the law in stand up comedy. If we had some sort of like
Governing body, yeah.
governing body, I get that temptation. Every night I wait for emails like, did I book this project? Did I get this?
Yeah.
I get I'm sympathetic to that.
Yeah.
But it is against the fucking rules to cheat. And then nothing happens to these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Even like, what's the one guy from the Brewers who got popped for Ryan Braun? He gets popped for PEDs. He left for like a few months. They booed him for
What
like
are
30
PEDs?
days.
Performance-enhancing drugs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then they booed him for like 30 days. And now everyone acts like, oh, no big deal. Ryan Braun. Face of the team. It's like, well, why wouldn't he just do that? He made some really good money. I think he won like the batting title or the MVP or something. I don't remember what it was. So it's just like, I just think if there's no consequences, then go on. Just cheat on.
Yeah.
Just keep doing what you're doing.
Yep. You heard it here first. Keep cheating, everybody.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is like, no, make
Some-
consequences
yeah.
so they don't
Yeah.
cheat.
I
It's
know.
so annoying.
And that's
But that's what's gonna happen. You know.
And that's what's frustrating too, is the next person, some dumb team is going to try something, and they're the ones that are going to get in trouble for it now, which is good, but they shouldn't be the first ones to get in trouble. For it.
right.
Look, baseball,
fucking
3 strikes,
annoying.
you're out. That's how it goes. Next team to do it,
Actually,
a little more
that's true.
severe. Third team, you're
Actually,
fucked.
you're wondering why the Astros haven't been punished because it's 3 strikes. You're
Strike
out.
one, dude. Strike
So
one.
That's
This is
actually a
strike one.
really good
Yeah.
tweet.
Yeah.
Red Sox
Um,
were technically strike 2 with the Apple Watches.
Yeah.
So the next one to do.
I read a whole thing about the Astros. One of my buddy Chris Kowalski, he's been on one of these episodes. He like yelled at me once at a bar, and it annoyed me so much the way he was talking to me, because he's a big Boston fan.
Yeah.
You know, like if a different team would have done it, he would be like, yeah, man, you can't do that. He's like, people have been sign stealing forever. Sign stealing is part of the game. You're like, I'm not talking about that.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the fact that they use Apple Watches to sign steal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's still that's proof that
Like,
like
if you're on second base and in the 30 seconds you're there, you can decode the signs.
right,
Fucking tip of the cap.
right,
It's different than
and people
data and using it, and then
everyone's
delivering
analogies are
it.
so weak. If you say, "Oh, sign stealing is just part of the game," that's like me cheating on my wife, and then be like, "Dude, what you think? I'm gonna get attracted to other girls, honey." And she's like, "Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
You actively fucking them
Yeah,
is
but
the
you
problem.
can't-
I
you
am.
having
You
sex
can't
with
even
someone
say
else
that,
and
though.
you jerking off in the bathroom.
Totally different.
They're not
And
equivalent.
you can't act like, no, this is part of it. This is natural. Honey, you expected I wouldn't be attracted to other women?
Yeah.
You're
You
like,
don't think I'm not going to be busting nuts?
you can be attracted to other
Look,
women.
it's part of the game.
part of
But
the
that's what people like do.
Fucking other
They come up with like a
people.
little thing.
It's part of the game.
It's like, that's part of it. Sign stealing's always been part of it. You're like,
Busted
but you still
nuts, bro.
can't use technology.
Yeah.
It's annoying.
Part of marriage is fucking other people.
Yeah.
I mean,
Duh.
yeah.
Honey,
What are you
you're
gonna
so
do?
naive.
Yeah.
I just think that's what's most frustrating about it is like everyone is so
Yeah.
so cocky about their perspective.
I just think that they should just let people use technology. Just change the rule. You know
No.
what?
Such a bad idea.
It's not a bad idea.
Because it's just the game
Everybody's
is because then it's just stupid. The game is
technology
stupid.
exists. It's not like the bat is like. I'm not saying like, oh, make bats that automatically hit the ball or whatever. I'm just saying like if people are cheating because it's easy to communicate with the modern technology. Just let the
But
pitchers.
it's not fixing a problem that exists.
Also,
It
you're
would fix
making
the
it
problem.
sound like they're communicating with their own teammates, which they are in a way
Yeah.
about the other team.
Yeah, but I'm saying like if
This
you're
isn't
the other
like-
team to defend yourself against that, you can also use technology.
Gosh, you're.
But that would
Dude.
help their batters.
Oh my gosh.
But there would be
No,
just
we're
no
not.
pitching in baseball.
Yeah, there would be pitching because the pitchers would be like, "Hey, like because
That's such an ass backwards way to fix
No,
something.
it's not.
Yeah, it is. It's like,
All right, so explain yourself. Like,
I don't
so
want
how?
you to get the flu, so I'm going to give you cancer
No.
so you don't get the flu.
Well, like think about like Coors Field, right?
Mm-hmm.
They used to say like, oh, it's a disadvantage to play in Coors Field because the ball travels like on a good, great like day with it being at that elevation and that temperature. The ball will travel a good 60 feet farther than an average baseball,
Yeah.
which is quite an advantage. And
pretty
it makes
sweet.
you not want to be in that park because if you're a pitcher, you could get lit up
Mm-hmm.
on something that would typically be like a fly ball.
Mm-hmm.
But the difference was both teams will have that advantage.
Yeah.
And we just pushed the outfield wall back a little ways, but that means your opponent would have it and you'd have it. Whereas with the Houston Astros, only they have the advantage.
That's
and
because the other team, if they tried to combat the fact that people are stealing their signs, that they're just like the catcher is like
okay.
putting a finger down in
So now
between
both
his
teams have the
crotch.
advantage, right? That's how you're saying it would even out
Yes.
if they both did. But here's the thing: how would it help any pitchers? Now,
Because the
all
pitchers aren't
are
getting
getting
their
shelled.
signs. No, they're not. They're not getting their signs stolen because they're communicating with the catcher to not have their signs stolen.
It makes zero sense.
How does that make zero sense?
To have a pitcher and a catcher get their
Communicating?
signs with technology. That's such an ass backwards way to like. You're just adding so much unnecessary things to the
they
game.
did that in football though. You used to have to go over to the coach and go, "Hey coach, what do we play?" And then
Yeah.
the coach would be like, "Do this." Now the guy's got like the sleeve thing with the
Well, they
he's
pump
got a
it into his
headset.
helmet.
They
Yeah,
got-
they don't.
So why don't they do that? Why can't they just be
Because you're
like,
having a catcher text his pitcher.
it's
It makes
still
zero
communicating.
sense.
Yeah, baseball games would be like 8 hours.
Yeah.
long.
What,
No, it wouldn't. It's not.
Every pitch, I gotta go. All right.
send me a text right now. See how long it takes.
Yeah, well, okay.
And then what if your text says curveball? And I'm
I
like,
say one-
I text back, no. Now you gotta send me the next one.
One.
Change up.
It's
No!
not that hard. And it's like, okay,
And I'm
here's
like,
the other thing.
curveball? And you're like, I don't think so. This guy hits curveballs for
But
a
okay,
while.
the
Instead
catcher
of
the
me
catcher
shaking my
is
head.
signaling because he wants to know what the pitcher is throwing. The pitcher
not how
decides
it
what
works.
he's
No,
throwing.
that's not how it works.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Pitchers
The catcher
pitcher
decides.
never decides what to throw.
Yeah, the catcher decides, and then
Catcher decides.
the pitcher
most
can
of the time,
respectfully disagree
Yeah,
or
yeah.
respectfully.
If you've earned it.
Yeah, most of the time they don't. They
No,
like
yeah.
they like the pitch
even
counts.
even
the
Felix
catcher
Hernandez in his perfect game, he didn't shake off once.
But there's
Because
also there's
coming in from the
exceptions
catcher and
like
from the
everything
dugout.
else. But like Greg Maddux would like usually choose.
Sure.
He knew the batters better than the catchers. But yeah, what he's saying is right. The
And
pitcher
it comes in from the dugout a lot of the time. The
Yeah.
coaches are the ones calling it to the
Yeah.
catcher. The catcher, because there's some great clips of like catcher looking in, getting a sign. He's like,
right.
calls it, and dude, it's a home run. And he's
Right.
like, fuck. He like
Yeah.
he knew better. So, dude, it's complicated.
All right. Well, I still
Tricky.
think they should.
I mean, in your argument, it's the catcher would still be sending it to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why it would change your position.
No, it doesn't change my.
We didn't like your position in the first place, but we're just saying that like it wouldn't change it. You would say that he would still be the
could be
catcher would be sending to the pitcher.
Or the coach could send it to the pitcher or whatever.
Whoever's involved in
Yeah.
calling the pitch, they're in a group text.
They
you
might
know?
consider something like you're saying though. Now that you've argued it this way instead of like last time,
Yeah.
like I think that they might consider something like that.
I mean, it just makes sense. You know.
It doesn't make sense at all.
It
So
does
it makes
make
sense
sense.
to punish the people and
It's
tell them not
such
to
an
do what they've been doing.
extra thing to do. It's so extra.
This is so.
It doesn't
see.
it
you
doesn't
guys are
help
arguing
a situation.
from a baseball like traditionalist perspective. That's my thing about baseball. They're like, oh, it's been like this forever. Baseball's old as shit.
No,
like that's their whole
Well, no,
thing.
it's not that I like the robot umpires and I like the idea of like reviews
yeah,
and
but
I
people
like.
fought against that.
I'm a
for
pro.
Years.
I want DH
Yeah.
in both leagues. Like I'm
Yeah.
a pretty modern baseball fan,
Yeah.
but I don't think it's smart to add something just because of something that isn't allowed. Does that make sense? So like I feel like we'll just find future problems when they start doing that. They'll say, "Oh, I picked up the signal
Yes.
from so and so's thing during 3
Yeah.
or 4 games in the playoffs. I was able to pick up,
Yeah.
because like there's hackers there's no such thing as like a finger hacker. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Like there's no like nerd I can find in California who can like log into my hands, you know, for signals. But I could probably name at least a few guys who I know who can log into my laptop or my cell phone from almost any place in the world. So now if you have all these things and people can gamble on the games and there's all these like motives.
If your password's not 1, 2, 3, 4,
and
you'll
how
probably
many
be
Apple
fine.
Watches are gonna how many Apple Watches are gonna break on a catcher's wrist because they're just blocking balls, they're doing all things. You gotta switch out a watch, you gotta dude.
Not that often. It's
Are you
not
kidding me?
gonna happen that
Do you know how many balls a catcher
you
gets
catch
pelted
it like
with?
this. How bad of a catcher are you?
Have you watched a baseball game?
I hope you guys are watching this. This is great.
Have you watched a baseball game? A catcher doesn't catch every
I'm
ball.
a catcher.
There's pitches in the
like
dirt.
what? No.
There's foul balls.
Yeah. Okay.
You're insane.
He has to have like a little cup for
the
his.
face of your watch
you're
is
insane.
the other. It's at you, right? So if I'm catching and he fouls it, it would hit the strap. Not
Dude, people foul balls off into their dicks. What are the odds of that happening?
Dude,
it happens.
Mitch Haniger just busted a testicle.
fucking
Ruptured a
happens,
testicle
dude.
because it hit off of his balls. Also, aren't you supposed to wear a cup? What happened?
He's an outfielder.
I know, but
I wouldn't wear a cup.
I see. Oh, they don't.
When I played baseball, I didn't wear a cup.
I wore a cup every game.
Dude, Adrian Beltre.
But I played third and first. So.
Adrian Beltre never wore a cup at third base, but he's just trusts his hands.
So good.
I got more hurt wearing a cup than not.
It does hurt. It rubs
It
in.
sucks, yeah.
For you lady listeners, it's not pleasant.
Yeah, having
it's not
balls
good.
sucks.
I stopped
ladies.
wearing
No,
it
just
once
like
I stopped playing
the
defense.
design is flawed.
Yeah, it's like we're gonna put this thing directly over your balls. That like
Why is it wide at the top and thin at the bottom? It should be. It
Yeah,
should be the
maybe
other
I was
way.
wearing mine too high or something, but I,
think I
felt like
should-
it just dug
you
into me.
I would
should flip
stuff
it around.
you
should
stuff
flip
your
it
balls.
around.
Here's how you wear a cup. You stuff your balls at the top.
You put them over.
You
put them over.
tie them over the top. Like a
That's
Princess
smart.
Leia buns.
Now
you know?
this is the type of technology we need. You're on the right track
Yeah,
now.
I know.
Yeah, but you can't go thick at the bottom
Why
because
is
then you're
one-
like
and you can't run exactly.
One
I know,
cup shape
exactly.
for all is a kind of a strange thing too.
Yeah.
All these different body types. You wonder why baseball players are always grabbing their junk. It's because they've made the least comfortable.
Well, they had the one that was like the triangle, and then they made the banana one that like goes under
That's
and
the
gets
only
your
one I
taint.
had.
Yeah.
and
The
I
taint
had like
one was better.
poop stains on the little pointy part of my jock strap. It was embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
probably reckless wiping. Last time I played baseball, I was like 16 years old. But I'm just saying, it was gross. I hated it so much.
Yeah. Yeah. I wore a cup.
Reckless wiping.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was a kid. It's
Yeah.
not like now.
Oh my
I'm a grown
God.
man. I know shit stains.
Yeah.
I just didn't want them to go, his cup has poop stains at the pointy part. It's like, nah, I'm 37 now.
Yeah. When I was
Why
in,
is your cup going all the way to your asshole?
yeah, you put
I
you put the
wasn't-
pointy part in your butt. Duh. That's what
No,
you're
I probably
supposed
reached to my
do.
taint, dude. And that's where the wiping, you know what I'm
That's
saying?
how it stays in place.
I said reckless wiping.
You take the pointy
It's
part
not
of the
in
cup.
my
You had a
asshole.
shitty tank.
No,
probably.
it goes in your butt. The pointy part of the cup goes directly up.
Well, and also,
and
like,
that's how it holds
I've got
in
a
place.
huge dick, so like it's a big cup.
Yeah.
And it tips back, that point goes all the way in there.
Yeah, you have to stuff your dick in the tip of your into
Dude,
your
it was
butthole.
bad, man. That thing was uncomfortable. And I was always like pushing it down, like, ugh. Dude, I'm telling you, that cup life was not good, man.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
But Mitch Haniger
Yeah.
could have saved it.
We're gonna make a video on how to wear a cup. All right, that's
think
what we need to
upside
do.
down
That's,
might work.
that's content we need to
You
make.
got to run
Oh,
like
the wide part, yeah.
it
Yeah,
sucks.
Yeah, because the cup would always like
Hurt.
it would bounce up like off of your sack, and then
Yes.
it would like
Well, then,
pinch.
well, it's
Oh,
tricky.
yeah, yeah.
So
I
then
would get like a
I
guillotine
stopped
effect
wearing,
on my ball.
I stopped wearing a jock strap where it's like tied on you. I just had like sliding shorts that had a little pocket for it.
Oh, nice.
So it was looser.
Yeah.
But then that's when it was like the adjustment every 5 seconds because it was like just flopping
it's-
around.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
sucks.
this is, these women are always griping about their lives, but think about it, like they female privilege. They don't know
Yeah.
about having to wear a cup when you're playing sports.
Well, they just have to worry about a ball going in. You know?
all the way in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never thought of it like that.
Yeah. So I
That'd be
mean,
frightening.
Yeah, that would be tough.
They've got to
take
give birth to a
How do you get it
baseball.
out? Yeah. Yeah, how do
That's
you-
why they make the
That's
ball
why they
bigger.
play with the softball.
How do you get it out?
Because it doesn't fit.
It's never happened.
Yeah.
Well, that's why
I
these
mean,
women.
it could.
It's why these women can't play
It
baseball.
could happen.
We can't have them playing hardball.
Yeah.
It's a hazard.
Yeah.
What if it gets in there?
Yeah. Yeah. That's also why a lot of
League Your
softball
Own
players
was,
are
League Your Own
lesbians,
was
you know?
wrong, man.
Yeah.
League
Yeah.
Your Own was wrong. There's crying in baseball when that happens.
Yeah.
You gotta. Plus, there's plenty of crying in baseball.
Yeah.
Joey Cora.
Yeah, Joey Cora cried in baseball. Freaking what is it? During those retirement things, like Derek Jeter, all the crap. They're like Cal Ripken beats the streak. They're all teary eyed. Like there's tons of crying.
Lou Gehrig saying I'm fucking dying.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole
Cal
stadium
Ripken
was
streak.
crying.
The Cal Ripken streak is, who cares? You know?
I have to go on record and apologize for that.
Really?
So I have famously, mostly because it's a real cheeky thing to say, but I used to believe it also. I used to say Cal Ripken Jr. is a C+ student with perfect attendance.
Yeah.
But if you look at his numbers, which I've only done recently from getting called out on saying that, I'm wrong.
Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer.
He won a home run derby.
Yeah.
Didn't know that. That's something I care about, a home run derby.
Yeah, but
He's,
he was there when everybody else didn't show up.
He won a
Just
World Series?
Classic, you know.
He had like all these gold gloves. He's the really tall for his position. I think he was like the tallest shortstop ever. He was a AL MVP. Yeah, he is the single game. You know, the most consecutive game streak. I'm trying to remember, but that's pretty good. I mean, think about
Yeah,
like
but
9
what-
All-Star games or something. Like you
Yeah.
start looking at the numbers, you go, all right, I was wrong. He was not.
Defensive wizard.
He's at least
Okay.
a B+, A-
here's
student.
what
You're
I-
thinking Bill Ripken.
Here's what I say about
I've
Cal
never
Ripken,
thought
though.
about Bill Ripken.
Here's the thing about Cal Ripken, though.
Well, fuckface Billy.
Why don't they tell us about that stuff? It's always like, he was here all the time.
I know.
Dude, that's bullshit.
He wasn't even. He
It's
doesn't
like,
even.
yeah, I was here, but I was good too.
Well, he's in the Hall of Fame, so I mean.
Yeah,
that's-
but like that's how he's remembered. They're like,
a
hey, the
pretty
guy that
good-
he showed up all
well,
the
he
time.
Didn't, he didn't make the Hall of
It's
Fame
like, yeah, I'd
because
show
he
up
played
all
a
the
lot.
time to play pro baseball.
I know. I felt like that a lot with school.
Yeah.
Although I got suspended a lot, I got in trouble a lot. Everyone knew that I was like a class clown and a rascal. I didn't miss a single day of school.
Yeah.
And you know why? It's because I didn't want to be at home.
Yeah.
School was fun for me. Everyone else was like, oh, we have to go to school tomorrow. I was like dreading the weekend.
Yeah.
Because at school, all my friends are there. And I
Yeah.
have like an audience to go like make laugh in the classes. And I can be silly and do all the stuff I want.
Yeah.
And so people were like, you like school? And I'd be like, no, school's, but I did. I love school. It was
Yeah.
like, it was like my playground. I got to do all this like fun. And also I was very popular at school, but outside of school, I wasn't very popular. Like nobody was like hanging out with
Your
me.
family was like, who's that?
My family, yeah, they were like pretty
He's not
indifferent.
popular at home.
I wasn't. I had like a
What?
few neighborhood friends, and those kids were great. Like Mike Roy was like my best friend.
Yeah.
And then some kids that might want to hang out with me just because they lived close to me, like if I rode my bike over their house. But like at school, you would think I was.
Shout out to Isaac McLeod.
You would think my school. You would think I was famous if you saw me the way I walked through halls. I'm like high fiving, and I'm like, whoa, like I felt like a celebrity at school, and then just like a loser at home.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I want to go back to school where I'm like famous.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's what Cal Ripken was doing.
Yeah.
At home,
He
he,
was just-
felt like a loser. And he's like,
His wife hates him.
at Camden Yards, I'm a goddamn legend, honey.
Yeah.
Nobody's fucking Kevin Costner there.
Yeah. Nice.
That's an
Oh,
obscure
yeah.
reference. If you don't know that story, look it up.
I don't
Do you
know.
guys know it?
No.
You don't know it?
No.
Tony, you know everything. So there was an alleged story, and then I'll tell you the true one. So allegedly for years, they were like, this is pre-internet. They're like, there were times that Cal Ripken couldn't make it to the park. And they were so afraid of him missing the streak that there would be like an electrical problem with Camden Yards, and they'd have to cancel the game. Or there'd be, so there was like, they were protecting his
Protecting the
record.
streak, yeah.
For whatever
Wow.
reason, he would call the stadium like that morning, like, I'm stuck super far away, missed my flight, whatever
What a
whatever the
fucking
situation
nerd,
might
dude.
be.
Missed my flight.
That I don't know what it could be. He's like private, I'm sure. But
Well, they all fly together.
yeah, but if he's like on a vacation or something.
Oh, yeah.
But and so there was always this like alleged rumors of like how there were certain games, whatever. Well, one of them got confirmed later in life when the internet came out that him and Kevin Costner were good pals. They'd been pals for a long time. So friendly that he's a friend of the family. They knew each other's families, and he would stay at Cal's house because Cal's house was like a mansion anyway. So it's like kind of like having your own hotel room, probably at your own level. And so Cal he heads to the park. He gets like, does whatever his like little routine is before he goes to the park, and then realizes he forgets something. He comes back to his house, and Kevin Costner is having sex with his wife. They get into a
Whoa.
fist fight. Police have to come, and it was probably how it got confirmed as a story. And that game was canceled that evening for some sort of technical difficulties at Camden Yards.
Wow.
And it's because he was
Shit.
too busy beating Kevin Costner's ass. I like to think he was on the better end of it.
Dude.
I don't know. Maybe Kevin Costner was beating the shit
If
out of
I
him.
was the old guy
He
that
was,
had
he was the Mariner, you know?
Yeah.
If I was
Which I
the
like.
other guy that had the record for, the Iron Man record,
Yeah.
I'd be like, this is fucking bullshit, Because it's like, they should have played the game. He should have missed the game.
Dude, you
And
can't.
my record would
Lights
be-
didn't turn on, bro.
Yeah, but that's bullshit.
You don't know.
Playing the dart.
Game never started. They got to
Playing the
protect
dart.
their
Oh,
record.
now you need technology in baseball, huh? That's
I'm trying to
bullshit.
think. The Orioles
Playing the dart.
The Orioles
you know?
were pretty
Use the
crappy when he
moon.
was doing the streak. They were like pretty crummy.
Yeah, they were.
Like that's something like it was like
They were good a few times.
What was good? The
good,
Orioles.
but not. They weren't like a World Series team at all. They had like Mike Devereaux, Brady. You know, they had
Brady
like those
Anderson.
guys. But it was kind of like when the Mariners were really, really average.
Yeah.
And they're like, but Ichiro's gonna break the hits record. It's like, all right, like sort of.
Well, no, it was before that because his last season was Ichiro's first season, 2001. Because
I'm just like comparing that time period.
Oh yeah.
Like where it's like if you don't have a real solid team that you're confident could really make a pennant race, you kind of just go, hey, did you notice so and so's going for the consecutive? They're kind of like leaning on that.
Way to
Whereas
sell
like,
tickets.
yeah,
and
the Orioles were good, but they were really all about that record. So if that record gets lost, you know, you're kind of going, hey, there's our gimmick down the tube. But there's also, I don't know if I've ever told this on here. There's a great story about some old guy who he was at more games than Cal Ripken consistently, and he worked for the Baltimore organization.
Yeah.
He rubbed all the baseballs.
Yeah.
And he has a
sucks.
placard inside the dugout, and it says most consecutive games. I'm like, oh, Cal Ripken. And I was like, wait.
Some
He
guy.
goes, no.
that
He was actually really good friends with Cal
The
Ripken,
old
but he's an
ball rub
old
guy.
man, and he was like the same bucket he would sit on and rub all the baseballs. And he has more consecutive games for the Baltimore Orioles in baseball ever for like working a thing.
That's pretty funny.
I love
What a
that. So
goofball.
Ripken's doesn't even have the real record.
Yeah.
Unless you count players.
It's the ball rub guy.
Dude, you got to rub those balls.
Yeah, that's right.
I love it. I could tell you a ton of baseball Baltimore things.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know who the most famous Baltimore Oriole is of all time?
Cal Ripken Jr.
No. Good
Brooks
guess.
Robinson,
Nope. Good guess.
Babe Ruth.
The Oriole.
Babe Ruth.
Oh.
Babe Ruth was a Baltimore Oriole before they were like a Major League Baseball team, and then he got basically traded by his dad to the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah.
It was like the biggest regret of his life. He's like, ugh, I can't believe I did that.
Yeah. Were baseball players back then making a lot of money? Or was
No.
it like
They were having jobs in the offseason.
Only the
Yeah,
very,
it's
very
fucking
good
crazy.
ones.
Yeah.
So, like, you could look at those numbers and go, wow, Babe Ruth made $1 million 1 year. But it's like, that's the best of the best of the best of the
that
best.
fucking sucks to be like if you're like, like an old sports person that like
Oh, yeah.
your sport's new and then you see it like grow.
Not even that long ago, Jeff. Like,
Yeah.
Terry Bradshaw came out of football and started, like, working on a ranch.
That's crazy.
That's the 70s.
Yeah.
And he's a Hall of Famer, won 4
That
Super Bowls.
sucks.
Yeah.
It's like
No.
you won the championship when the championship
A lot
was
of those-
like,
like
a
the
gift
the
card to
Arguably a top
Chick-fil-A.
10 quarterback of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and also the greatest baseball team that might be ever assembled was a team called the Grays, who played in the Negro Leagues,
Mhm.
and they were all steel workers. They worked all day in a steel, like that's
Wow.
like hard labor where you can like
Yeah.
lose
Yeah.
arms and fingers, and they were probably the greatest baseball team that's ever been played.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
They would play anyone. They play cops. They would play like pro teams. They played the Yankees a bunch of times, but like it would never count towards record. But they were like, we'll play anyone, anytime.
Yeah.
We were joking about like, I bet people would take jobs at that steel mill just to be on that team. Like, hey, I'll work here.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
I get to be on the Grays.
Yeah.
One time
That's
I saw a guy wearing a Grays jersey. Me and John Bruton were in Cincinnati, Ohio, and we see a guy wearing a Negro Leagues jersey. We think it's very interesting. We thought that was pretty cool. Nice tip of the hat to one of the best baseball teams ever. It was Josh Gibson. I think that's his name. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But it's the Grays jersey, and Gibson on the back. And then we were talking about it. And then the owner goes, or our server goes, so what are you guys talking about? We're like, oh, that guy's wearing a Negro Leagues jersey. I've never seen that before.
Mhm.
And the guy goes, oh, cool. Are they bringing that back?
Oh, boy.
He didn't
pretty
even
funny.
realize what he had said. We're like, of course not. Me and Bruton
Yeah.
just started laughing. Like,
Oh
what are
my
you talking about? He goes,
gosh.
oh, I don't know. I don't know. He's like,
That's
dude,
pretty
of
funny.
course they're not bringing it back. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
What do you think would be the XFL equivalent of baseball?
That's a good question.
Letting everybody cheat. No, I don't know.
Metal bats?
Metal
Yeah.
bats would be cool.
That's dangerous, dude.
Yeah, I know.
Holy shit.
Not if you have an L screen.
Yeah.
And then the catcher just has to field it off of that bounce back. I could see that. That's a very XFL kind of thing.
It's weird.
But
Yeah.
you'd have to, like, here's the thing. They would do something shitty where they said, like, oh, we use steel bats in our league, and then our outfield wall is 50 feet farther. You're like, well, that's
Yeah.
the same thing as just using wood.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we don't care.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
What could they do?
How are you liking the
They
XFL?
run to third instead of first. Like it goes
Just
the other
backwards
way.
baseball.
Just because.
Yeah. Just 'cause fuck
I am
that.
a big XFL
you
fan.
went to the first.
Yeah, I went to the
You did
first
too.
Wildcats
Both
home
went.
opener. It was awesome. We
Yeah.
checked it out. What I was most impressed with is that the audience, even though it wasn't sold out, they were into it. They weren't just there; they were like into it,
Yeah.
and I appreciated that because I thought it would just be like people feeling it out, looking at it, but like they treated it like it.
Yeah, the Seattle
they'd
watching
been
the
rooting
Seattle
for it
game
for a
on
long
TV.
time.
It was like, oh, there's crowd
Yeah.
noise. It's affecting the game. Like, yeah,
It looked like a Sounders game at
It's
the Seattle one.
It was interesting too, seeing like people wearing different sports gear
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Like you'd see like people wearing Dodgers shit, people
Dolphins.
like
Yeah, Angels. you
every
saw
other
everything.
team. Like there'd be like Raiders fans show
A lot
up.
of wrestling shirts.
A lot of wrestling shirts. That's
Man, it was like they thought it was gonna be the old XFL or something. I saw like a Kevin Owens shirt. I saw tons of NWO shirts. I saw a
What?
WrestleMania jersey.
What was the difference with the old XFL?
Everything was different.
yeah.
I'm picturing it like it was like they were like, hey, it's NFL Blitz.
More like that. Like there was like no fair catches. You couldn't call fair catch
Someone got
on the
injured
punt. You know,
in the
And it's like-
first 30 seconds of the
That's
XFL.
awesome.
Someone got injured.
So they didn't do a kickoff. They put a football like 30 yards
they
away.
put the football in the middle and let both teams just run to it.
They'd
Oh,
run.
yeah,
they'd run
dude.
side by
Awesome,
side. Whoever
right?
picked it up.
That's sick.
Some guy like
Dodgeball
dislocated his.
rules.
He dislocated his
Oh,
shoulder.
I thought he
like,
broke
on
his
the-
leg.
or something. Yeah, something.
Yeah, on the first 30 seconds where they're trying to be like, our league is gratuitous.
It's
like
Smash
it was
Mouth.
like,
That
yeah.
guy's dead.
Yeah, it's really what it felt
Hell
like.
yeah,
Yeah.
dude.
I bet Vince was like, yes. Like
Yeah.
he was like so
And
happy
then-
about what happened.
and then the first
They're
week.
carting a guy
Yeah,
off.
first week had
got
like
it.
crazy good ratings. Second week was just dog shit because the games were so bad.
yeah,
the
but
teams
also
were
they
bad.
had a ton of technical difficulties.
Yeah,
and
they
they,
did
also,
invent the on-field camera.
Yep,
They invented the on-field
they invented
camera.
it that day
with the
Vince
thing
told
with the
the camera-
strings that like
No,
Well,
not
that's
that.
that's what it's become.
He
think
just
it's
put a guy
crazy.
like in basically like football gear.
The guy
and
was
said, "Take your
yeah.
camera out there." And the guy goes, "What are you nuts?" Like the camera was like, "I'm not doing that." And Vince is like, "I tell you, you do what I tell you." He's like, "I'm not paid to do that." Like there's like a union for camera workers. Like
Yeah.
it's not like they're not
Yeah.
like wrestlers where they're like, "I
I
hope
think
he
it's
hires."
named after that guy now.
Oh, I bet.
It was like
Yeah, 'cause
his
he-
name-
he
like,
also
went by
died
Rhodey
in
or
that.
something.
So
It was like Rhodey Cam. But then the ratings went so bad. Then they started interjecting storylines.
Well, the rating. I thought I
that's
was under the
cool.
impression the ratings were always pretty bad. Like
The first week
from
was
even
like one of the
first
most
game.
watched. The first one was like one of the most watched things on.
Oh, really?
on TV.
Because there was a time, there was some sort of problem where like
It's
it was
huge.
supposed to, it was like the game was supposed to end at a certain time, and then SNL was supposed to start.
Yeah.
And that game just went into overtime. There's nothing you can do, which is like the worst possible scenario. Opening game, and they've got to stop because SNL gets priority.
Yeah.
And or a live show like SNL. They have to bump sketches and cut things out, which that they don't want to do that either. So it's like
Fuck.
it was a nightmare for like TV scheduling. I think they ended up not showing the end of that game.
Yeah.
And that's a nightmare for XFL. Like nobody even knows who won a game. Like, could you imagine not getting to see the end of
Yeah.
a playoff game? You'd lose your mind.
Yeah.
What
And then-
year was that?
2001.
That was 2001. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, and they were also like, we're gonna show you, we're gonna take our cameraman into the cheerleaders' locker room.
They eventually
And-
started doing that because
yeah.
they needed gimmicks to get people watching.
That is a horrible thing.
I do like with the new
It's like
XFL.
girls going wild.
I do like the new XFL. The access we're getting. The
Yeah.
quarterback throws a fucking pick. They're like, so what fucking happened on that throw?
Yeah, and these players
You know?
aren't like they're not saying anything that they shouldn't, at least yet.
Yeah.
But they don't feel like they've been coached to be like, we just went out there. Like it seems like they're just like
And
they're just talking. You
One
know?
game
Yeah,
last week.
that's cool.
One game last week, the New York quarterback, he got benched, because he was playing bad, but also the reporter came up to him. He's like, "What do you think we need to change? We need to change everything." Like he's like,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
he was like kind of criticizing the coach.
Right.
So the coach had to go up to him at halftime, like, "Dude, what are you doing?"
I love that.
So then he benched him.
But I love that he did that.
I do
That's
too.
pretty
Yeah.
cool.
I do too.
We had one guy they interviewed at the Wildcats game. He was a big Samoan guy or like a Pacific Islander of some sort, and he was like just cheering. So they would ask a question. He's like, "Whoa!" Like just like yelling really loud and like doing like that crazy dance they did. Like it was
Yeah.
like those are good answers. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
pumping us up, it's jacking us up.
Yeah.
I love XFL though. One of my favorite stupid things because. Shout out to the XFL. They've been pretty cool. I'm getting tickets next week for free. So JC, we can have like as many tickets as we want, but we got JC's for. But she's been so cool to me, the president. And so last XFL, to answer your question, in 2001 was all gimmicks. You know, it's about like it felt like this weird marriage between wrestling and football. It was very gratuitous about injuries, and they were like, NFL's all the no fun league. They don't even like concussions. And that's where you come to get your real football.
Yeah,
It's like that kind of stuff.
The nicknames on the jerseys.
The nicknames on the jerseys.
Yeah.
And so because they're so afraid of fans going, oh, we already saw this crap in 2001, their whole thing is no gimmicks. Fan first, no gimmicks. So no cheerleaders, no nicknames, and no mascots. And then the other thing was they're going to always keep the price low. And then what that means is like every ticket's $20 and parking will never exceed $25. And so that means you can bring your family, or you can not feel like I'm not going to that. It's just trying to get my money. Like it feels so.
It's like the opposite of
right with everything else.
Yeah.
So they're trying to really bank on that. Also, the other thing she told me is that don't quote me as her saying this, but a lot of people have felt like LA doesn't give a shit about the football fan. They've neglected the city of LA of football, in the NFL at least, NFL football, for like 20-something years. And then they just plop the Raiders and the Chargers in and say, hey, and the Rams, and say, hey, here's football in LA. And then they're so shocked that nobody wants to jump on. It's quite a shift to just start cheering for the Chargers and the Raiders and the Rams for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And after 20 years of nothing, it's like, what? So it just kind of feels weird for people. So they're trying to bank on like, hey, if you're from LA or if you live in LA, here's a fresh thing that you can root for from day one. You can say you were here. You know, they weren't like relocated from St. Louis or some other thing where like you have to feel a little dirty about it, like a Thunder fan. And so all of those things combined, they think they're gonna have a really successful like thing. The problem is they're losing. That's the bad part. But the ratings for game one were huge. The ratings for game two were huge, and we're 0-2, and people are still loving it.
That's cool.
Aaron Marsh's brother had a funny tweet. Did you see it?
Mm-mm.
It was so New York lost last week to DC like 27-0, and they're 1-1 now. And he was like, as a lifelong Guardians fan, this is the hardest loss of our life.
I love stuff like that.
It was so funny.
Well, Chris Cope, very funny comedian we've had on here also, he leaned over to some two people that were sitting next to us right when we first sat down, and he goes, first time to a Wildcats game? It was so great because the game had been started for maybe like 30 seconds. It's a home opener, like that's never been there before. And they looked at him like he was stupid.
Yeah.
I was like, that was the funniest thing you're going to hear all day. And they ignored him too. Like it's so frustrating. But I love it, man. I think I think it's going to be huge.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Another little thing I like about XFL is you each get your own balls.
Yeah.
So like the Dragons have a ball that says Dragons. It has the Dragons colors. It has all the thing. And so like if I get a pick, or if I get a pick six, right, I intercept that ball and I run it in. Now I've got like your ball. I'm like, yeah, I got the, like that's pretty, it sounds stupid, but it's cool.
I like the extra point rule. I can't wait for a game to go to overtime, because overtime's like a soccer shootout.
Sure. Oh, it is?
It's like you start you're on the 5 and you get to play on offense, and then you play on defense, and then they do 5. And if you're tied after 5, you just do sudden death like a soccer shootout.
That's
cool. I didn't know that.
Fucking
That's awesome. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's cool.
It's going to be really hard. I think it's going to be really hard for teams to go to overtime because of the scoring rules. Just because, like,
it's easy to get
you
not
can be
a tie.
Yeah. But it's interesting. I heard this because I've watched.
I still think it'll definitely still happen.
Oh yeah, I've watched a lot of the games, and the teams still don't know what to do on the extra point because they're not
They've
scoring.
made some bad decisions.
They're not scoring, but then it's like you're down 4 points. So then it's like, all right, you can go for 1 to be down 3, but just go for 2 because it's not that much farther. And then a field goal wins versus
I think that they're so locked into like, 1 is a gimme, but it isn't.
It's not at all.
And so because
there's an argument that it's even harder because you're closer.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, I would.
You have more space,
the defense,
and you have more space to operate. You know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because there was some bad mathematical choices.
Yeah.
In the game we went to, and the ones that
I've
watched
on
on
the
TV.
first 3-pointer.
Yeah, and the first 9-point swing.
Yeah,
we went from being out of it
sick.
to like right back into it
because there was a penalty, so it moved the 3-pointer up to the 5.
But also like just them being able to march down, get that touchdown, go for 3, penalty, go for 3 again from closer, and then score. I was like, we're right back in this.
Yeah.
And I think we had like 3 minutes left or something. It was like a long.
And the 2-minute clock rules are great. So you can't just run the clock out.
Yeah.
It's
I haven't
awesome.
seen anyone do the 2 forward pass thing.
I've seen it once.
Yeah.
But
you'd think they'd be exploiting that.
It didn't work out. It's tough though, because you got to still throw it behind the line of scrimmage. So defenses are privy to it. You know, there's a lot of like press coverage.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you do that first forward pass, they're not getting the time to throw it second time.
Yeah. And you're putting the ball in the hands of someone that's not the quarterback.
The
Right.
Dragons though.
So
Dragons have a receiver who played quarterback in college, so that
Dude, get Seneca Wallace, dude. Remember how good he was?
Yeah, as a receiver.
Well, no, Seneca Wallace did a play where he threw it.
in the NFC Championship.
Yeah.
No,
And
he was a quarterback.
What?
He's a quarterback.
Oh, I know, but he had that play where he was a receiver
And he caught
it great.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Like it was like amazing.
Yeah.
Because then you got the other court. It was just like a weird play.
Yeah.
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 NFC Championship versus the Panthers.
So good.
It's good stuff.
nice.
Jeff Z.
Yeah.
You got anything to promote, big dog?
Yeah. Let's see. Subscribe to my podcast feed. I will be putting up new episodes soon. It's the Grounded Podcast. Follow me on Instagram, Jeff Zenisek. And then let's see. I will be in Raleigh, North Carolina, March 4th through 7th. So
All right, dude.
come to my shows at
Do
Good
it.
Nights Comedy Club.
I
Do
love
it.
it. What about you, dude?
Follow our Instagram.
Yes. Jeff Dice
We're
Friendship
gonna
Podcast.
go on, Jeff Dice Friendship
Oh, just Jeff Dice
on
Friendship.
Instagram. I know it's confusing. There's so many different things.
I don't know.
There's that. There's if you want to watch back episodes, youtube.com/Jeff Dice Friendship Podcast.
When are we've teased them the last 3 weeks, I think, but when are the clips of the new Jeff and Tony play going up?
Soon. It's just the reason I haven't done it yet is because I didn't want to we have 3 episodes and then we don't have anything else.
Yeah, but we can crank those out. We live in the
I
same
know.
place
We
right
need
now.
to do it.
That's easy. What was I going to say? This weekend, I am in Dallas, Friday and Saturday at Hyenas Comedy Club in Dallas. Come see me. Terry Bradshaw will be there for one of those shows. Get your tickets quick. Go to Hyenas Comedy Dallas, I believe. But anyways, just look up Hyenas Comedy Club Dallas for tickets.
Or go to Patreon.
Or go to Patreon. If you subscribe to Patreon, you get free tickets to those shows. And I'll be out there hanging out with you guys and signing stuff and having a good time. Right. We out.
Friendship.
How about that? What an episode, huh? Thanks for tuning in, you guys. Like we said, don't forget to buy tickets to Dallas. Come see me Friday and Saturday. Get your tickets for when Jeff Z is in Raleigh, North Carolina. And sub over at iTunes, sub on Patreon, sub on Jeff Dye's Friendship Podcast on Instagram, Jeff Dye on Instagram, Tony Plays, Jeff and Tony Plays. Screen peekers. We need all of that, guys. We just want you to follow us and love us and give us money so that we can make the best content and stuff for you and love you back. You're our friends. So thanks for coming. Shout out to all the Patreons. You guys make this possible. We love you. Patreon.com/Jeff Dye. Goodbye, y'all.